Hello everybody, my name is Shanna Weisenberg. I'm here to discuss child immunizations. So what exactly is child immunizations? Okay, I'm going to explain two different perspectives from that. Pro and con against that. First I'm going to discuss the pro for that. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to... The pro and the con against that. First, I want to discuss support for that. So, diseases are becoming rare now because of immunizations, and I'm going to explain a little bit better into that. So, you're on a ship and you start sinking. What do? You try to get the water out, and that helps calm things down. So, what happens next? Is the water just going to continue to coming to the boat? The same can be said for disease and immunizations. It's that same concept. We want to reduce and control it more. It's the same concept as boat. You have to fix it. The same thing can be said for diseases and immunizations. That's what's important. So the goal is the future. So I see this list of many countries that stopped giving immunizations. One example is Japan in the 1970s. There was a program to stop immunization. About 80% of the children got immunized. So then people started talking. They thought that immunization, that they should stop it. So a lot less people got immunizations, and they felt uncomfortable about it. And after that, it was about 10%. So 2 years later, there are 13,000 something a year. I'm gonna need interpreter clarification. In 1967, they just decided to stop it. A lot less people were getting these immunizations. Sorry, my video froze. I'm going to restart at 3:45 because my video froze. I'm actually going to start at 3:30 so I can get the concept. Time marker 3:30 on the video. Okay, so now I see this list of a lot of countries that decided to stop immunizations. One example of this is Japan. In the 1970s, they had a good program for immunizations. And about 80% of their children got immunizations. There were 30 cases of youth that happening in youth every year. So then they started to gossip and think that immunizations was causing more harm to people, and people were very cautious about getting into that. So it went down to about 10% of the children getting immunizations. So 2 years later, pertussis, missing the figma spell word. Pertussis showed up again. There were 13,000 cases that year, and everyone was like, "We need to start giving immunizations again." They realized we made a mistake, so finally the cases started. Years later, the cases started to deplete because they started using immunizations again. So that's an experience that I wanted to explain about that. So you might have noticed many diseases: polio, measles, Hib, rubella, tetanus. A lot of different of these can cause brain issues, heart failure, brain and bodily disabilities. Tetanus is still a big problem that happens today. Interpreter clarification. It can cause heart and liver failure, brain and body dysfunction, and even cause death. Tetanus, for example, is still a big problem all over the world. Every year, about 3 million babies and 30,000 babies and adults die. Going to interpreter clarification. And about 30,000 mothers die from that because they don't get that immunization. Every year, about 30,000 babies. Yeah. Another sickness is something. People don't get immunized, and they need to do that more. I want to explain why so many people are against that now. Some people think that immunizations cause autism. We don't really know what causes autism. No one really knows that. But a lot of people think that it's caused by immunizations. So two people decided to study this and they wanted to call it, So they decided to go ahead and study what was the cause of what is the cause of autism? Okay. So 2009 they decided to study what MMR and if itself was involved in, I can't figure out the finger spellings. So they researched, and at the same time in Europe, here in the USA, they decided to abolish that. So 2 years later, they were looking at different medicine in the study and said, no, there's no proof in that. That does not cause that. So autism has still been increasing even without the use of immunizations. Some other people think that it's still not safe. Even through all the research, people still think that immunization isn't safe. So the proof is weak. There's no proof there. A lot of people have been reading and thinking about it, but it's not actually immunizations. People are still getting sick. It's a cycle. I mean, it happens everywhere, but more so here in America. Oh, okay. 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 So some other people feel that vaccines, they're not safe. That there's a high risk. It's more of a high risk than when those who take vaccines that cause autism. There's no, yeah, like as if there are newspapers or articles or something like, or that they've read. But the research is, it's invalid. It's weak. Of course, people continue to read and get worried about it, and they think that it's better not to have those vaccines, and people continue to get more and more sick. You shouldn't fight against it. It's a cycle. I mean, it's happened in other countries, and it's also happened here in America. The COC. The CDC, against the Center Against Disease Control, they support vaccines, and they have continued to support vaccines. If you decide to get they support vaccines, and they always will. The CDC does, and they have up until this point. So if you decide that, yeah, I think my children should get vaccines, that's fine. But if you're curious what kind of vaccines, this itinerary is going to explain everything: what to do, put your name, the name of the vaccines, how many times you should take the vaccines. If you're curious, take a look at this. Look here for more information. So the point of this information is about vaccines. So go to www.cdc.gov. So thank you. And that was my voice interpretation.